Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and good evening from Niagara Falls. What you are is based on what you pursue. And what you are will direct or determine what you pursue. If we can all pause from the busyness, the outer busyness, the inner busyness, and reflect on what we pursued today. Think about your day, why you were doing what you were doing, how you were doing what you were doing. Think about your pursuits over the week, the month, the year, decade, lifetime. What you are will direct what you're pursuing. In our reflection, we'll come to the understanding that what we are is this and that. Sometimes I'm a relative. Sometimes I'm this body. Sometimes I'm arrogant. Sometimes I'm humble. Sometimes I'm a dreamer. You know, it's this cornucopia of identities. This is who I am. And so our pursuits are the same way. Sometimes we're going over there. Sometimes we're going over here. This, that. We're traveling, we're eating, we're buying, we're giving away. We're trying to figure out, we're confused, we're happy. Again, a cornucopia of pursuits. When we are unclear of who we are unclear of what we're pursuing, we just get tired. With greater reflection, we are actually pursuing peace. If you think about this pursuit enough, it may be this or that, but what we're really trying to bring into our life or to reach is peace. Think, whenever you're stressed out, do you stay in that mood? You try to get out of that mood by going for a walk, by watching a movie, perhaps going to sleep. If you're angry, then you ask for forgiveness, you give forgiveness, you buy something, you go somewhere. When you are peaceful, what do? When you're peaceful, you do nothing. In fact, all that you do is perhaps worry that this peace will go away, yes? You never try to change that experience of peace because it's most natural. And all of us are pursuing that, but inefficiently, ineffectively. This word nature in Sanskrit is Atman. So what we're pursuing is peace. What we are is Atman. To benefit from being the Atman, one has to know that one is Atman. In a worldly way, it's like a discount. See, if you're eligible for a discount but you don't know it, do you get that discount then? You don't, right? And the majority of people in this class are Indians, so we study those discounts well because that's what our pursuit is. Today, Sheila and I were researching when Vyasa will first fly, so we were looking at the Southwest website, and someone told us that, if an infant is 6 months old, then you have to pay. But then we checked the website, and it's actually up to 2 years old as long as you're holding them. So we were like, score, we can fly 3 people for the price of 2. But we have to know that to benefit by that. If we don't know that, then we think, oh, we shouldn't fly because it'll be expensive. In the same way, we are Atman, we are peace, but we have to know that to benefit by that. And this knowing will begin intellectually. Just the idea of us pursuing peace or being Atman, that intellectual idea is how this seed grows into not just an idea, but into a belief, into faith, into trust. And here is where we come to understand that the pursuit of Acharya Shankara was to help us come to have this intellectual understanding that we are pursuing peace, that we are Atman. This is Acharya Shankara's pursuit. I'll elaborate. Acharya is one who's engaged in acharati. Acharati means to live, to lead, but I'm going to pick up on the word charati. What does charati mean? It means to walk, it means to move. Acharya Shankara, from the time he was 8 years old, he began to walk, he began to move across Bharat. What is shared historically is that he traveled up and down Bharat 4 times on foot. There wasn't trains and there wasn't Teslas. He did all of this on foot. And what was he doing? He was spreading that idea that we're pursuing peace, so pursue more sincerely, that your nature is peace, so start being. And now, 1,500 years later, he was in 7-8 AD. We're in 2017, and we're studying Acharya Shankara. So really, he's walked to right now, correct? He's walked to Lexington. He's walked to West Virginia. He's walked to Niagara Falls. He's walked to so many cities. And Shankara. Sham karoti iti Shankara. The one who is auspicious. But auspicious is one of those ritualistic words that people use, but they don't really know what it means. Like, do you really use the word auspicious in your day-to-day affairs? The only time you use auspicious was when you do arti, offering auspicious lights. But what does that even mean? Auspicious here is one who has integrated their equipments, their body to their mind to their intellect, and with such integration, they realize who they are. In Sanskrit, we call that dharma. Acharya Shankara. Shankara is the one who is dharmic, someone who's integrated. And if someone can do that with the micro, with the individual, they can start to share that with the macro society. You can only give what you are, what you have. If I don't know how to play the piano, and that's a true fact, and you come to me for piano lessons, then that's a poor decision on your part. But if you come and ask me how to play football, in American that is soccer, I'm okay in soccer. I can show you a few things about soccer because I know that, I have that. Because Shankara was integrated, he was able to do the same for Bharat and now potentially for all of us. He succeeded in integrating who he is. He succeeded in reaching peace. He succeeded in knowing Atman because he lived by the Shastra. In English, the word Shastra is scriptures. And the scriptures are literally a user's manual on how to fix the problems we have in our lives. And not so much outer problems, though the scriptures can fix that too, but it is our inner problems. Inner problems like confusion, inner problems like jealousy, inner problems like being extrovert. That's what our Shastras, this user's manual, teaches us how to fix. Imagine our mind is like a boat with so many holes in it and water keeps coming in. And the Shastra teaches us, okay, plug in this hole, plug in this hole, plug in this hole. Then you don't fall. You stay, you rise. Another word for our Shastras is poetry. If you think of Samaveda, the Samaveda is sung. It's poetic. And to know poetry, you have to be a poet. Yes? Many of us, when we go to New York City or Washington, D.C. or Chicago, we go to big cities and we go to art museums. Do you really know what you're looking at? You know, we say, we went to this museum or we went to that museum, and we say, you know, we pull our collar up and stand up straight, you know, I have this brochure. I walked in with an umbrella, even though it was not raining over there. But what are you actually doing there? To appreciate that art, one really has to be an artist. Yes? Our Shastras are poetry, and Acharya Shankara is a poet, which is why he knows the intricacies of this user's manual. And now when we think of a poet, our understanding of a poet tends to be only romantic. Now, someone who talks about a relationship, someone who talks about nature, but it's very small in scope. Acharya Shankara wasn't just a poet. He was a champion. He was a leader. And he used poetry as a teaching technique for people to be peaceful, for people to know their own nature. As we go about the expression of his poetry, which is Atma Bodha, you will find in every shloka there is an analogy, an example, a simile. And this is how much he knows the subject to create worldly examples for worldly people like us to not forget what the message is about peace, about the self. I know some young adult study groups who have tried to study Atma Bodha independently, without an acharya, and they honestly told me that they were unable to really understand what Acharya Shankara was trying to explain. And so I'm most excited that all of you are enthusiastic about trying to understand this poetry so that we too can be fulfilled. We too can be peaceful. To understand Atma Bodha, one first has to understand that lifestyle changes need to be made. What does this mean? When I use the word I, when you say I know, I talk, I go, I buy, I am this, I am that, what is that I? Who is that I? All of us tend to have a moha about I. I am a boy, I am a girl, I'm old, I'm young. It's like when I ask people, okay, so this retreat is for young adults. All the old people say, yeah, I'm a young adult too. Is it biological? Is that how it's determined? Is it what you feel? Is it what you think? What is that I? We have a moha about this I. And what's fascinating is in this class, we may have people who are 18 years old and we may have someone who's 80 years old. Do you know what that I is? And for the 80-year-old, you've been using I for 80 years. What is that I? Thinking about this, we learn a lot about our personalities. You see that I never changes. And so what do? We take that I for granted. It doesn't change, so we take it for granted. Don't we do that with our family? That we live with our family, that our family is going to be there tomorrow, so we tend to take that for granted. We don't really get to know them. We speak to our family in ways that we would never speak to our friends, correct? Because our friends may not be there tomorrow, and on and on and on. We humans are experts at taking what's close to us for granted. It could be the environment, it could be our family. Most definitely it is I. And when there is moha, when there is confusion about I, about who I am, what naturally happens then? Bhaya. Bhaya means, don't say brother. If you're thinking brother, what does that have to do with I right now? Bhaya is fear. Where there is confusion, there is fear. Like you're trying to drive somewhere, but you're confused about the GPS is saying turn, but does it mean veer right or does it mean go straight? And then you're afraid. What if I take the wrong turn? You're on the way to the airport. Now you're going to be late. There is bhaya. And where there is bhaya or fear, what that finally devolves into? Shoka or sorrow. That's when you end up at the airport and you realize you've missed your flight. Shoka. So bhaya, shoka, moha. And Prince Arjuna is an icon of this. He went from moha is confusion. Am I fighting for dharma? Am I fighting for the Pandavas, my family? Am I fighting for myself? And he became scared. He stopped speaking. You know, when you're so scared, you can't blink, you can't move. Arjuna is that. And then sorrow, he just sits down. You know, if I'm sitting like this, are you going to think, whoa, he's a really happy person? You're obviously going to think, what happened to him? So we have this moha about I, about who we are. And if this moha is there, what can we use to purge that moha? We need a mudgara, no? What does mudgara mean? Hammer. Hence, to understand Atma Bodha, a preparation, an ideal preparation, is to bring in that moha mudgara, that bhaja govindam. Mudgara means hammer. You keep hammering at the false I, you'll get to reveal what the real I is. Acharya Shankara presented this mudgara to us in the form of bhaja. Now, many of the study groups that are with us right now, you studied in the entire Moha Mudgara course. And so now I'm going to ask you. And if you get anything wrong, you're going to be embarrassing me in front of all of the new study groups. When class after class, week after week, I defined what bhaja is. So, and now it's so funny. I can see you, as you look down right now, I can see you looking down. Bhaja initially begins as to sing. That's what we know of bhajans. Lots of dancing, lots of instruments, lots of voices, to sing. But the evolution of to sing is to, see, all of you can just move your mouth. Yeah, I got it right too. To seek. The evolution of to sing is to seek. That's where you bring your thoughts there too. The evolution of to seek is to serve. It's not just about singing or thinking, but it's about acting on that also. The evolution of to serve is to worship. That's where you go from I'm volunteering for an organization to saying I am the organization. In Chinmay Mission, you can say I'm part of Chinmay Mission, or you can say I am Chinmay Mission. We say I am CM. That's like going to worship. You go deeper into that, from worship to love. I don't worship Vyasa, I love Vyasa. I don't feel that he's different than me. He looks exactly like me. He doesn't look like Sheila, right? There's love that is there. And the evolution of love is to be. B-E. when Vyasa feeds, then I read him a Marchitakatha. So today I finished about Karna. And now the next in this series is about Mira. And I can't wait to get to that last part of this comic book where Mira merges with Bhagavan Krishna and there is no Mira to be. This is the Mudgara to be clear about what I is. Everyone's with me? Okay. Now, many of the new study groups, you may feel intimidated that you're not prepared for this. So I'm going to cover all 31 shlokas in 5 minutes. Okay? So memorize it, record it, write it, whatever you want. But here we go. This is vision that is manifested as lifestyle. Bhaja Govindam is very much about lifestyle. If our lifestyle is sattvic, if our lifestyle is peaceful, then knowing who we are becomes quite natural. Shloka 1. Acharya Shankara's message is, use the intellect. So many times my parents called me when I was younger, buddhu. Buddhu means you have an intellect, but you don't use it. So here it's use the intellect. Shloka 2. Share your wealth. Share your wealth. The more you hold wealth, the more it becomes heavy on you. Shloka 3. The body is dying. From last year to this year, we are all 1 year closer to death, whether you studied Bhaja Govindam or not. The body is dying. Shloka 4. Uncertainty is certain. That's the only certainty is uncertainty. I was sharing happily and sadly in the Bhagavad Gita course that from the end of May, when we finished the Bhagavad Gita course to our recommencement, then Vyasa was born. And at the same time, someone in our Bhagavad Gita course had died also. There's that uncertainty, no? Shloka 5. Develop independence proactively. Develop independence proactively. Let us not be reactive people, especially if uncertainty is certain, especially if the body is dying. Shloka 6. Deepen your relationships. If you can quantify how many minutes you spent today in small talk, I am positive it's many more times than the minutes you spent in deeper talk. Yes? That's the corporate culture. But who created that culture? People did. That's what you talk about on the bus on the way to school. Who said when you walk under the bus, there's a filter there, talk about shallow things? Deepen your relationships. Shloka 7, desire being desireless. Desire being desireless. Swami Tejamananda shared so many lovely thoughts. One that stays with me is, the highest gain is when you no longer seek gain. The highest gain is when you no longer seek gain. 8. Evolve enquiry to inquiry. Enquiry is, when is the iPhone 8 coming out? Enquiry. Inquiry is, when is Vivek going to actually start teaching Atma Bodha? Enquiry to inquiry. Okay. Number 9. Associate with nobility. The simple Sanskrit word for that is satsang. Associate with nobility. Number 10. Knowledge cures ignorance. Knowledge cures ignorance. When we study Shloka 2 of Atma Bodha next week, right from the start, Acharya Shankara begins with that. Number 11. Peace brings peace. Does pleasure bring peace? We had a family retreat in Phoenix. I don't know if Phoenix is in our study group right now. They're supposed to be in our study group. I think they are. I saw Anand. I think that's Chinmay Mission Phoenix. And we cooked our own food. And when I say we, I mean the organizers. Definitely not me. And we were focusing on overeating because we were studying Sadhana Panchakam. how enjoyable it is to overeat, right? It lasts 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But how much we suffer once we're done overeating. It lasts hours. It could last days, right? Built into pleasure is pain. Do possessions bring peace? Cue Bill Gates or William Gates. If possessions brought peace, why is he giving all his money away? Does position give peace? Ask President Trump. Ask the leader of North Korea, etc., etc. So peace brings peace. Number 12, pay attention now. Pay attention now. 13, focus on faith. In the Bhagavad Gita course, we were talking about how we have lots of belief and little faith. But if we focus on faith, we'll have more faith. 14, renunciation is within. Renunciation is within. There's no need to externalize renunciation. In a deep relationship, I don't have to wake up every morning and tell Sheila that I love her, right? I just show her, or she just knows that. Why externalize that which is subjective? This is within. 15, fulfilling desires is futile. Fulfilling desires is futile. Swami Chinmayananda says, fulfilling desires is like a Kleenex box. Once you pull out that one Kleenex, what happens? And if you buy cheap Kleenex boxes, they're so tight, so many come out, at once. 16 is, denying desires is futile. I love the comparison there. Even denying desires, I'm telling you right now, don't look at my headband. What are you doing for the rest of the class and course? What color is that headband? Why is he wearing a headband? Etc., etc. That was an example. Stop. 17, knowledge dismantles egoism. Knowledge dismantles egoism. Example, if you know how much your parents have done for you, could you ever not appreciate your parents? Impossible. 18, independence is invincibility. Independence is invincibility. In Niagara Falls, they're creating a really epic go-kart track based on the Mario Brothers. And I always remember playing video games with Mario whenever you got a star, correct? You became invincible till time ran out. But it was so fun getting that star. But we can be invincible all the time if we're independent. 19, be beyond context. So all of you are very serious and taking notes and all of that. But come 9 p.m. Eastern time, Atma Bodha. Don't depend on Zoom or the Vichara Gurukula. Be beyond space-time matter. 20, practice makes perfect. And I had shared this with you. I read a really wonderful comparison of this. If nobody is perfect and practice makes perfect, why practice? That's called dustarka, following wrong logic. 21, depend on God. Depend on God. Swami Tejamayana shares, don't tell God how big your problems are. Tell your problems how big your God is. 22, the wise live simply. People like Barack Obama, who I think only had like 5 or 6 suits, and he just kept on wearing the same type of suit. Right? You don't have to think about anything. You just go to work. That's why I'm so happy that I get to wear the same type of kurta. Little kids say, do you wear the same kurta every day? Yes, I wear the same kurta every day. 23, get the fundamentals right. Get the fundamentals right. If you think of athletics, people like Wayne Gretzky, people like John Stockton, people like Michael Jordan, These people's fundamentals were so solid that they could be creative. 24, people train us. For all of the people who are married in this course, who can frustrate you more than your spouse? You can't come up with a name. I'm not going to even ask you to put it in the chat room. I know you can't come up with anyone. For all of those with kids, who can disappoint you more than a child? For all of those who are not married or don't have kids, who can embarrass you more than your parents? Right? So people train us, especially family, friends, and so on. 25, separation is shallow. Separation is shallow. Over here we have Bhagavan Krishna and Bhagavati Radha. Is Bhagavati Radha a male or female? Bhagavan Krishna, male or female? You don't think along those lines when you see Bhagavan, or even when you come to a mandir. We call them Bhagavan Radha Krishna, isn't it? That they're one. So this separation about gender and age and income and all of that, that's all shallow. 26, vices are hell. Where is hell? Vices. If you were supposed to do some sort of work in your ashram, in your center, but you never did it, every Sunday when you go to Sunday classes, what are you thinking? That person's not looking at me. When are they going to finally sit down and tell me that, I didn't do my work? See, we put ourselves in hell. 27, evolution is being generous. The more evolved you are, the more generous you are. 28, the present creates the future. If you don't brush your teeth today, how many friends are you going to have tomorrow morning? Not a lot. And if you don't brush your teeth for a longer period of time, you're never going to have any friends. But if you brush your teeth every day and you're personable, you will have friends. But literally, if I don't look after my body today, tomorrow I won't be clean, I won't be healthy. 29, functional is meaningless. Functional is meaningless. Here, the functional I'm talking about, Acharya Shankara is talking about, is pleasure, possession, position. What is the point if they're not leading us to peace? I was supposed to take 5 minutes, but I took 10. Actually, I took 12. So 8 months of studying, I encapsulated into 12 minutes. And now I'm going to give you the summary for 30 and 31. If you remember, I never gave you a summary for 30 and 31 at the end of the course. The summary for Shloka 30 is, growth must grow. Growth must grow. Sometimes when we're a little bit noble, we reward ourselves by being indulgent, isn't it? What do you do when you fast after the full moon? If you do a Purnamasi Vrat, the next day, go to a buffet, correct? What was the point of that? Fasting then. This growth, discipline cannot be stagnant. You have to go deeper and deeper into that discipline, as an example. And 31, the last shloka of Moha Mudgara, on how to shape our lifestyle so that vision becomes more clear. We're more convinced about this. We're confident about our vision. All we need is a Sadguru. All we need is a Sadguru. Everything that's shown in Moha Mudgara, if Acharya Shankara is in your life, and he can be if you want him to be, naturally he would be an expression of Moha Mudgara, no? Okay. With this refined lifestyle, we are more prepared for the vision of Peace not being in extrovert pursuits, but being in introvert pursuits. The vision that my nature is Shanti. We go to Shloka 1 of Atma Bodha. This is called the Mangala Shloka. The Mangala Shloka is being enthusiastic that we're beginning our study. The Mangala Shloka is the trajectory for this text. The Mangala Shloka is sharing the point of life is to be Mangala, to be egoless. I will chant each quarter, then you chant, and I'll try to chant slower. This is the same meter as chanting Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bhajagovindam is not like that. This is like Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Tapo bhikshina papanam Shantanam vitaraginam Mumukshunam apekshoyam Atma Bodho vidhiyate. Do you all enjoy chanting the whole shloka again together, or do you prefer to just continue moving? Put your hand up if you enjoy chanting the whole shloka again together. Okay. Due to the enthusiasm in Maryland, we will chant this together. Ready? Tapo bhikshina papanam Shantanam vitaraginam Mumukshunam apekshoyam Atma Bodho vidhiyate. As we study Atma Bodha, I'm going to try to make this as practical as possible. Because I gave an example recently that if you don't eat the food you have in your refrigerator right now, why do we keep buying groceries? We should eat what we have, correct? So in the same way, we should practice what we've studied rather than continuing to add ideas that we don't actually have faith in. The first quarter, Acharya Shankara is saying, Tapo bhikshina papanam. Tapaha. We've brought up this word many times in all of our courses. What does tapaha mean? Austerity, but then I'm going to ask you, what does austerity mean? Austerity is like that word auspicious. What does it actually mean? Tapaha in Sanskrit means to burn. The idea is that when you're engaged in tapa, or disciplines, you start to burn down your comfort zones. Imagine I have a wooden wall between me and you because I'm uncomfortable with you. When I practice tapa, I burn that down. So I become more free. Tapa in English is discipline, disciplines. Now, why would someone engage in tapa? If you reverse the letters, tapa becomes pata or patati. Patati means to fall, exactly. When we've had enough of falling, that's when we start to practice tapa. And I don't even mean falling outside. You know, I keep slipping on the ice. I have to practice, study Atma Bodha and do tapa. Falling inside, pressing the snooze button, overeating, reacting, having road rage. You know, when I've had enough of all of that, I start to be more disciplined. And this tapa, these disciplines, they start to dismantle. That's the kshina. Kshina means to vanquish, to do away with. Papa. What does papa mean? Father. What does papa mean? Papa means sin. So now tell me, what is the original sin? In some scriptures you'll read not related to Sanatana Dharma, the original sin is women. Some say it's gold. But in Sanatana Dharma, we say the original sin is not women or gold, it is ignorance. Ignorance is the original sin. Sin is that which takes you away from who you are. What takes me away from me is me not knowing who I am. Ignorance. And now I'm going to assign some Sanskrit terminology to all of this. Slowly we'll keep building on this. The ignorance that is being referred to here is called vasanas. Vasanas means a habit to be away from who I am. Vasana. Vasana is unconscious. It expresses in the subconscious as ashana. Ashana means desires. And we have 3 primitive desires, which I'll unfold as the course goes on. But remember that word, ashana. Ashana, which is in the subconscious, manifests in the conscious as vrittis. Vrittis means thoughts. In other words, the more vasanas we have, the more desires we have, the more thoughts we have. Why can't we sleep at night? Because we can't get this mind to stop thinking. And these thoughts also manifest even more as karma, as actions. And every time we act, don't we think about what we just acted upon? So the reverse applies. Karma creates more vrittis, more thoughts. More thoughts create more ashanas, desires. More desires create more vasanas, more habits. And it just goes back and forth like a pendulum. That's what papa is. But that papa goes away when people start to practice discipline. So that comes out more in the next line. Shantanam. Shantanam we can take as someone who's peaceful. It is someone who is thoughtful. If you're a thoughtful person, naturally you're going to be more quiet, correct? A thoughtful person thinks before they speak. A thoughtful person lets other people speak. They're just more thoughtful. They don't live in a very shallow way. So naturally, a thoughtful person is going to feel more quiet. And if you feel more quiet within that, quietude is of the mind. If you're more quiet in mind, that means you don't project as much. And if you don't project as much, you don't feel as incomplete. Okay? This may be unresolved for you, so now I'm going to take it this way, okay? I feel incomplete. I'm unhappy. So what do? I project that my wife, my son, my ashram, my job, my country, my kurta is going to complete me. Projection. And anytime you project happiness onto an article, a being, a circumstance, what happens? What do we become with all of that? Attached. Raga. Become attached. And once you're attached, we reference Bhagavad Gita, where there's raga, what's coming with it? Bhaya, fear. And what's coming with fear? Krodha, or anger. How important it is to study all of this, because if you go to a sociologist and say, I have an anger problem, they'll treat anger as a cause when it's not, it's an effect. Anger is coming from fear, fear from attachment, attachment from projection, projection from incompleteness. So Acharya Shankara is saying here, someone who's shanta, someone who's thoughtful, that person is not attached as much because they don't project as much because they're not as incomplete. Vita Raginam. In the third quarter, if I'm engaged in discipline, if I'm engaged in purging thoughtlessness, desires, and habits, I'm being more thoughtful, I'm being more independent, naturally I'm going to be a mumukshu. A mumukshu is someone who wants moksha. Moksha ichchati. Someone who wants to be free. And when you have some experience of that peace that is your nature, how can you settle for anything less? That's the one problem I have with the movie The Matrix. There's a lot of swearing. That's a problem, a functional problem. But a more fundamental problem in the story is when Cypher goes to meet the agents and says, I want back into the Matrix. And he goes, I know this steak I'm eating is fake. I know this wine I'm drinking is fake, but I don't want to know that it's fake. Not true. Once you have some experience of peace, you cannot go back to living thoughtlessly, indulgently. So one is a mumukshu. This word apekshaha, that person is worthy. That person is ready for what? Atma Bodho Vidhyate. That's the last line. Vidhyate means to write. Because Acharya Shankara is saying, I'm writing Atma Bodha. A better understanding of Vidhyate is love. Acharya Shankara loves. He is love. And his love is expressing as this scripture that Bodha. Bodha is, he's teaching us about Atma. Atma literally means that which is closest to oneself. If Vidyate means love, Acharya Shankara is expressing his love by knowing the self. Really, he's teaching self-love, isn't it? This is a text on love. This is a bhakti shastra. It's about devotion. And so to wrap up our first shloka, the main message that Acharya Shankara is trying to teach is sada tapa. Sada means always. Engage in tapa. Starting right now, all the way till we die, we have to be more and more and more disciplined, more and more thoughtful. Sada. No excuses. What is the sattvic swear word that starts with B? Sattvic swear word, Vedantic swear word that starts with B. But, B-U-T. I wanted to come to the Atma Bodha class, but I don't have a Wi-Fi connection. Really? That happens in North America. No buts. Sada tapa. Now, I think many of us are trying. We're engaged in these disciplines. We come to this class and this class. We do this sadhana and this sadhana. But we fall. We falter. Sada tapa has to be insulated with sada abhyasa. I said abhyasa, not abhivyasa. Abhyasa means practice. You fall, you try again. You falter, you try harder. Sada abhyasa. Narayana.